I want you to think about something before we go anywhere today. Think about the way your parent or your grandparent showed anger, the way they handled conflict, the way they gave or withheld love, the things they never said, and the things they said too harshly. Now ask yourself, where did they learn that? Now, this message won't be for everyone. This is not everyone's experience. It's not everyone's story. But there are those who need to hear this. Nobody's born knowing how to wound the people they love. That is a learned behavior. And in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, that learning has a very specific history. A history that most families have never named, never traced, never held up to the light. Thank you for joining Jamaican Soul Medicine. And today we're going into the cycle, the one that moves through Jamaican families like an inheritance nobody asked for, and nobody knew how to refuse. This is not a video about blaming parents. This is a video about understanding the chain, so you can be the one who breaks it. Let me tell you what was passed down in many Jamaican households. It's not money, not talking about land, not generational wealth. What was passed down was a survival code. Lick them before them can lick you. Don't make them see you weak. Picnic fi obey. Spare the rod, spoil the child. Man no fi cry. Woman must be strong. Not hear your business. What happened in this house, stay in this house. You know these phrases. You grew up inside them. Maybe you even say some of them now without thinking. These are not random cultural expressions. Every single one of those phrases was a survival tool forged on a plantation. Every one of them was designed to produce a specific kind of person. One who endures, one who obeys, one who does not question, and one who does not show vulnerability. On the plantation, vulnerability got you killed. Questioning got you punished. Weakness was exploited, so the enslaved people learned. And they taught their children to be hard, to be closed, to hit first, to feel nothing, or at least to show nothing. That was not bad parenting. That was survival. In that context, it was love, the only kind of love the system allowed. The plantation is gone. The survival code is still running. Here's what intergenerational trauma actually means, because that phrase gets used a lot without being explained. It means that the unhealed wounds of one generation become the environment that the next generation grows up in. You don't have to experience the original trauma directly. You just have to be raised by someone who did and who never healed from it. A parent who was beaten as a child and was never given space to process that, never told it was wrong, never comforted, never shown another way. That parent does not automatically become a gentle parent. They become the parent they had, because that is the only model they ever saw. And that is not weakness. It's not evil. This is what happens when a wound is never treated. It spreads to everyone the wounded person loves. Think about your own family. Think about how far back the hardness goes. Your parent, their parent before them, each one passing down the only tools they were given, tools that were designed for a world that no longer exists. And here's the part that nobody in your family ever said out loud. The parent who hurt you was hurt first. It's not an excuse. It's a fact, as the beginning of understanding. Let me give you something concrete, because this is not just a spiritual observation. The research confirms it. Studies on Caribbean communities consistently show some of the highest rates of corporal punishment of children anywhere in the world. Jamaica has one of the highest rates of physical discipline of children globally. And the parents administering that punishment were always almost subjected to it themselves. This is not a moral failing unique to Jamaican people. This is what happens to any group of people whose parenting traditions were forged under a system of violence and never consciously examined or reformed after that system ended. The colonizers used physical punishment as a control mechanism. It was systematic. It was brutal, and it worked. Not because it made people better, but because it made people afraid, and afraid people comply. That mechanism got absorbed into the family. The father who beat his children was using the master's tool on his own blood, not because he wanted to harm them, but because he genuinely believed it was how you made children strong, how you prepared them for a hard world. He was not wrong that the world was hard. He was wrong about what would protect them from it. And nobody ever told him that. Nobody sat him down and said, this tool was not made for you. It was made to break you. And now you are using it on your own children. Now I want to speak specifically to the diaspora, to the Jamaican in Birmingham, in Toronto, in Brooklyn, in South Florida. Some of you left the island. The pattern came with you. How many of you are raising children in England or Canada or wherever and still hear your Jamaican parents' voice coming out of your own mouth? Still feel the reflex to harden when you should soften? Still find it almost impossible to say the words, I love you, I was wrong, I am proud of you, because nobody ever said them to you? That is not a character flaw. That is an unexamined inheritance. And the cost of leaving it unexamined is that your children, born in a completely different world, facing completely different challenges, are being raised with tools that do not fit their reality. Tools that were made for Jamaica in the 1950s or before. Tools that were made for a plantation in the 1800s. The cycle does not break by moving countries. It breaks when somebody in the family decides to look at it directly, to name it, to say, this ends with me. Now I need to say something carefully because I do not want this message to be misused. Understanding where a wound comes from does not mean accepting the wound. Tracing the history of why your parent hurt you doesn't mean that what happened was acceptable. It doesn't mean you owe forgiveness before you are ready. It does not mean the harm did not happen. What it means is this: you get to hold two truths at once. Your parent caused you real pain, and your parent was a wounded person doing this, the only thing they knew. Both of those things are true, and the healing requires you to hold both, not to collapse one to make the other easier. The ancestors understood this. In African spiritual tradition, there is a deep acknowledgement that we are not only ourselves, we carry the ones who came before us. Their unfinished business becomes our work. Their unhealed wounds become our invitation. Not our punishment, our invitation. The invitation is to do the work they could not do, to go where they could not go, to feel what they were never allowed to feel, to say what they were never given the language to say. That is what breaking the cycle actually looks like. Not grand gestures, not dramatic confrontations, but the quiet daily decision to respond differently, to pause before you repeat the pattern, to ask, is this mine, or did I inherit this? So let me ask you the question this video was always building toward. What did you inherit that you have never examined? What pattern are you carrying that you never chose? What are you passing down to the people you love that was placed in you without your consent? You do not have to answer that out loud, but I want you to sit with it, because the answer to that question is the beginning of the cycle ending. The soul remembers, the land remembers, and the family. When one person is brave enough to look, the family remembers too. If this message reached someone, if it reached you, share it, because there may be someone who needs the healing. Subscribe to Jamaican Soul Medicine. This is ancestral truth, spiritual liberation, and the reprogramming needed to break free from mental slavery. The work continues.